Now I know there was a little connection to Pearl Jam. You had a little collaboration with them. You played on Jeff's album.
Yeah, well, I've known Jeff for a long time, since the beginning of our record career. Jeff used to
Mother Love Bone.
Huh?
Mother Love Bone.
Back with Mother Love Bone. He used to come down and hang out at Megaforce when we would come to town in New York and play. And there were events that King's X would do, the Bill McGaffey's party and CMJ and stuff. And so Jeff would show up all the time, and we didn't really know who he was or anything. He was just always quiet, didn't say much, but he became kind of like a part of the fixture. And I mean, he's a great friend. Don't get me wrong now, but back then, he was just somebody that showed up and hung out with us. And through, by the time he got to Mother Love Bone, I remember, not Mother Love Bone, but after Mother Love Bone, well, after Andrew died, he was working on Pearl Jam. Yeah. And he sent me a tape of Pearl Jam, which was called Mookie Blaylock at the time.
Sure.
And and the other side was Temple of the Dog. Now this is Temple of the Dog was going to be a couple of years later.
Yeah, man.
So he gives me this cassette, and I play both sides, and I'm like freaking out because, dude, nobody had heard of Soundgarden. Nobody had nobody had heard of Pearl Jam. Soundgarden, I think, might have had
just come out
one record out in Sub Pop, but and so Temple of the Dog was like almost like non-existent.
Preview.
So I put these CDs on, and I'm going, oh my God, because when I heard Chris Cornell sing, I just put my head down and went, oh no, because I just I was going, oh, he's gonna just drive over me. He's such a great singer. I got so jealous of him and so impressed by what he did on that record. He sang his heart out. So that kind of kicked me a little bit. Pantera too, but I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah.
But that really kicked me hard, and I remember we were on tour with AC/DC at the time. This is, I think, when Faith Up Love had came out, or maybe right before it had come out. Not sure, but and
what AC/DC tour was that? Like Fly on the Wall or Flick of the Switch, or what were they?
I can't remember.
Okay.
1990, I remember.
90. Okay.
We did like 4 months with him, but we were in Tacoma, Washington, and Mookie Blaylock were opening for Alice in Chains, and Alice in Chains, their first record had maybe been out a month.
Man in the Box just came out.
Yeah, so after we played, we went to see him play because Jeff wanted us to come down. We go, let's go hang out with these. We didn't know him or anything. Yeah. And we watched these two bands. So it was like 20 people in this club.
Right.
And so both bands played, and I went, wow, it's cool. And we've been friends ever since.
Cool.
That's how that goes.
Now tell us about that experience of touring with AC/DC, because obviously that's a whole another level.
Well, AC/DC was one of my favorite bands in the whole world.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Right
Nobody grooves. There's like
Highway to Hell. Yeah. Right there.
Oh, there,
to the left, yeah.
Nobody grooves like they. Back in Black, when I first heard Back in Black on the radio, I was riding in my car, and I had the radio on, and Back in Black came on, and I pulled my car over and called the radio station, and I said, so when did the new Nazareth record come out?
Yeah. Brian Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said, Nazareth. I said, well, who was that just was Back in Black? And they said, oh, that's AC/DC. I'm going. Because, Bon Scott had been dead for a while,
right?
And nobody had heard anything. We had heard Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and I thought, okay, it's over, and we've got the remnants of it, and it was done. All of a sudden, the song comes
Screecher
out, and it was like the baddest thing. The groove in this, the riff was different. Everything about it was like a game changer again. Yeah. And so I bought that record. And so from that point on, I was pretty obsessed with AC/DC. So when we got the chance to go on tour with him, it was a big dream come true for me. I think I watched every night but one.
Wow.
Every night I watched him.
Could stand on the side of the stage
or in the back, somewhere where I could see him.
Yeah.
I remember most of the time I stood by Angus's guitar tech and just stood there with him and watched the show, which was cool. And sometimes I'd go over to the monitor guy and sit with him and watch him. But oh man, what a tour that was! It was a Rolls Royce tour.
Yeah.
I mean, we played the whole, well, not the world. We played Europe and the U.S., Canada. I never got to see. It was our first major tour. of seeing huge.
Is there a
cities.
story behind getting the tour? Was it the agent? Was it?
No, you know, AC/DC, actually Angus and Malcolm really like King's X, and they actually, I was told they requested us.
Wow.
That's the thing about King's X is, even though
Now, you had the Atlantic affiliation too, right? So the label,
yeah, and they paid.
that helped.
I mean, I know they paid,
right?
You know, because you don't
tour
go on.
support.
Yeah. But the thing with King's X has always been we've had great people in high places that loved King's X and would always open those, give us special attention because they always felt we were special, and they just never could understand why they couldn't sell us to big to the
Right.
masses.
So you're always respected by the musicians
Always,
and by
always.
the
Even Jeff Rowland
people on the team.
when we did Woodstock, we had the spot. We played Friday with Sheryl Crow, Live, Jackal, Candlebox, and there was a couple other bands I can't remember now. Hey, it was a pretty big deal for me just being on all these bands, and I love hanging around with bands and stuff. And I went to everybody's dressing room and hung out, and it was all cool, you know. But we got the spot that everybody wanted, the spot when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, we, through the media, were one of the highlights of the day.
Yeah.
And I remember I ran into Jeff Rowland from ICM, and I said, Jeff, did you have anything to do with it? He says, yeah, I'm one of the guys that put this on. He says, I couldn't have Woodstock without having my favorite band play. He said, we got you the good spot. He said, you should have seen the war that went on to get that spot for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going, thanks, dude. But the thing about that, though, is that that's why I've always never felt like we belonged in the rock world, because it's like I never felt like we were accepted. It's like it seemed like people just did favors. People would say, Lang didn't do anything for you, and they didn't do enough for you, and that's why you didn't make it. No, they did more for us than a lot of bands in many ways. They pulled rabbits out of their hat. I mean, we did, you know, Unplugged on MTV on an afternoon. Nobody had done that.
Wow.
We did a lot of things that other bands only, you know, were dreaming of doing. And it still, we couldn't translate. Even playing Woodstock with all those major bands, and we were on MTV with all them at the same time. Even MTV said that we woke the crowd up. But all those bands went and sold millions, and King's X didn't. You know, we played Jon Stewart a couple days later, and it was kind of, we just looked at each other and went, okay, well, I guess we're not going to be a big band. And so we just kind of stopped. The dream, I think, died, and we just started making music and just doing what we do and trying to make a living, and you know, and keep it going. But that's when we were. It was a big shock, I think, to me anyway. You know, to go, okay, we had this spot. The world saw us pretty much, and nobody gave a fuck.
Now, did you ever have any of the internal pressure to write the power ballad or to change the sound?
As much as we knew that the record company wanted us to write them a hit song, we still wouldn't write songs under the guise of this is going to be a hit song.
Right.
We still tried to write the best songs we could.
Yeah.
And
because what's a hit? I mean, you don't
we didn't know
what
a hit was. But I tell you, after Dogman, we did 2 years later we did Ear Candy.
Okay.
And I remember because after Dogman and after Woodstock, you know, that was when that record came out. And it seemed like our career was like, I felt like, well, nobody cared. I says, well, let in my mind, I thought, well, everything that I write on the next King's X record is gonna be a radio hit. Somehow I'm gonna try to write a song that's at least radio friendly. So Ear Candy record, if you listen to it, dude, every song is a radio song as far as I'm concerned. They might not be great radio songs, but they all could have been, as far as I believe, they could have been played on the radio. There was nothing in them to screw you up. There was no time changes. There was no deep lyrics that were gonna alienate somebody or religiously. I mean, I really worked on my part of that record to just write some good pop songs. Sometimes
catchy songs and turn the progressive part down.
Moon and stuff, and those songs are fun to play. But at that point, we had figured Atlantic was pretty much tired of working with us, and we weren't, you know, gonna be their big deal, and they're gonna stop paying interest in us. So we just kind of got off the label, kind of asked to be off the label, and says,
Yeah.
"Look, you're gonna fire us anyway, so you might as well let us go and figure out what we're gonna do." So we
Sure.
did. They forgave us for a couple $1 million and kept everything that we have with them. We can't touch anything. And we got Woodstock, whole Woodstock live show, and we can't put it out because they own it, and they're not gonna.
Right?
They're not gonna let us have it.
We've got sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Oh yeah, we've even got the making of Dogman. We videoed the whole time we were in the studio making Dogman, and ain't nothing we can do about it. You know, it sucks. One day I hope I can get enough money to get that stuff and put it out. Just to see
well,
it.
Especially since they probably have no plans for it. Like you
They have
say,
no plans
it's
for
sitting
it.
there
None.
somewhere.
They
don't even know that it's there until somebody knocked on the
I don't
door.
even think they know, because we've asked for a couple things from art. Like when we put some records out, or Metal Blade has been putting out some King's X, first few King's X albums. I think they're going to put out the whole catalog.
Okay.
And they went to Atlantic and asked for some artwork and stuff like that. They don't even know where it's at. They don't even know where anything's at.
Right.
It's like, jeez.
Changed hands a few times.
Yeah.
Now, what's the song Black Flag about?
Ty wrote that song. You know, I think it's just about being negative. I think he explained a little of it, and it was just like, you know, living your life and just thinking that everything is down and just living under a black flag, a cloud. You know, it's like, oh, woe is me. And he said, take it off and smell the roses. Check out, life isn't all bad. You know, I mean, that's you got to have the balance, right? You know, I mean, you got a shitty life, but at least the sun's coming up. You know, you're broke, but at least you got food, or you got food, but you're broke. You know, or whatever. You know, but I mean, I think that's what the song's about. But Ty wrote that song. I don't like to talk too much about it.
Sure. Not being the author of the lyrics.
I love this song, and it's fun to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I know it's been an incredible catalog, great evolution. You collaborated with so many great people over the years. Talk about, you know, the Living Color guys. You know what they did to rock, and you know your collaboration with Vernon and the boys.
I remember first hearing Living Color, and I was very excited because all black rock band, and jealous.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, we were a brand new band too coming out, and I'm going, okay, got some competition here. They came to town to play on their first record, right, when they had just hit MTV. And we were in the studio, I think we were making Gretchen. And I think it was Gretchen. And we got a call from someone from their camp and said they would love us to come out and see them play at the club. I don't remember if Ty and Jerry went or not, but I went because, you know me, I'm a sucker for attention.
Yeah.
You know, so I went to see him play. I went down front to watch the show, and in the middle of the set, Corey stops the show and calls me out, DugPinnick, and blah blah blah. And so, you know, I got and people clap, and so I got my little attention quota. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's not bad. Some of the things that I've got to do, you know, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but what I'm trying to say is everybody wants attention. Everybody loves attention.
Yeah, you want validation for what you do.
Yes, and I'm lucky enough that I do something that I get that. Not saying that, oh, look at me, or, hey, I'm the shit. It's just that I'm just lucky. You know, I mean, I babble like anybody else. Other people go, oh, shut up. When I babble, people go keep talking because they want to know. I'm just lucky. I ain't no different than anybody else. You know, it's just where you end up. So my point is, nobody's any more special than the next person. So to say all that, went down front, I got my little attention quota. And after the show, we went backstage, talked to them, and they're huge King's X fans, all of them were. And so we've been friends ever since. I even fronted them one time. They had 10 shows they had to do or committed to do, and Corey couldn't do it. He was doing the God, Jesus Christ Superstar.
That's right.
And he says, why don't you get Doug to do it? So Will called me up and says, dude, you want to front Living Color for 10 shows in Europe? I'm going, sure. Well, he told me how much I was making, which was more than I make with King's X. So I go, okay, I'm going to make this work.
How many songs did you have to learn, and how quick of a time?
It was a 40-minute set.
Okay.
It was rough for me because Corey sings in a higher register than I do, so I struggle with it, you know. And I've got live versions and some video, and no one will ever see because I suck. Okay, I mean, I even pull it out lately and go, there's no way I can put it out. I mean, I wish somebody would come and steal it and put it out. Because, I mean, people have seen me in my worst moments. We got YouTube.
Yeah.
But for me personally, they even told me I could put it out, and I can't do it because I sucked.
Right. It was more challenging than you thought.
But yeah, we've been friends. I mean, I talk to those guys all the time. Will, I mean, literally, not a year goes by without us. And in fact, I took a solo band out called Doug and the Texas Foundation, and we did a double billing with Corey Glover's solo band.
Okay.
This is about maybe a year ago.
Oh, wow. That's great stuff. And I know other collaborations, of course, Billy Sheehan and Richie Kotzen, what can you say about those guys? They got the Winery Dogs happening now.
Richie, oh man, well, we want to tour with them. KXM wants to tour with them.
Yeah.
I think KXM and Winery Dogs would be a cool tour, and I think it's cool because, it's like there's been a sort of a lull in just regular hard rock.
Right.
In the last 5 or 6 years, you know, it's like nothing's been going on and no one's picked up the ball, and I think KXM and Winery Dogs kind of gave
It'd be a great double bill.
That genre a little kick in the butt. And those, both of our records sold well too, which was surprising.
Yeah.
And it showed us also that there's still people out there that want to hear rock and want to go for it. So we're hoping to tour, and we're going to do a new record soon.
You did a collaboration with Richie? You sang on a song?
Oh, yeah. Richie called me up and says, hey, dude, you want to sing on my record? I go, hell yeah. And we did this song, and it was a lot of fun.
You do it here in town?
Yeah, we did it at his house. He's got a studio at his house.
Okay, that's beautiful.
And Billy, too, went to his place and sung on his record.
Yeah. Can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
So KXM, the great George Lynch.
Yeah.
One of the greatest guitarists ever, man. Talk about how that all came together. What was the impetus? Who called who?
I was over at Ray Luzier's, his son's 1 year birthday party. We're all hanging out. George is there. George and Ray both say, man, we got to do something together sometime. And Ray says, I got a drum room and we can record in it. And we go, cool, well, let's get together sometime. And, and like everybody says, you go home and you kind of don't get back together with everybody.
Waiting for the phone to ring.
About a month later, George calls up and goes, dude, I got a place we can record. Got a couple days. Come on, let's go do it. And I go, okay. Because George is a real go-getter. George doesn't sit around. No. And next thing I know, 12 days, it took a month, but 12 days out of that month later, we had a record.
Wow.
And we put it out. And
so you took like raw ideas in the studio and just fleshed them out?
Dude, we went into the studio and just here's what we agreed on. I think, I don't know, I'm kind of domineering sometimes, so I don't want to say everybody agreed or not, but my suggestion was that no one tells anybody what to do. We've all been in bands long enough to know how to write songs and know our niche and what it is in a band. I said, let's just be ourselves and just come up with stuff. So Ray would just start playing a drum beat, checking his drums out. And I go, hold it, play that again. And I said, keep going. And I'd play a bass part to it with his kick drum. And George would go, and George would just kind of start playing something and look at us like, and we go, that's badass. We go, okay, we got a verse. Let's keep on moving. And that's how we did it. Everybody would somebody would come up with something. George would play something. And I just remember that I said, we're all going to do what we do. Nobody's going to follow each other. We're not Led Zeppelin. I'm not going to play a riff that you're playing, George. Whatever you play, I'm going to try to play something around you. And Ray was the same way. We all wanted to be, everybody needed to be an individual and a unit. And I think it worked out real well for that, we just really purposely did that. And what I love about the record is, like, there's not a lot of music that I'm a part of that I can appreciate, because it's so hard for me to step outside of it and appreciate it for what it is, because I see all the flaws in whatever I'm doing. But
Too close.
in KXM, since I had nothing to do with anything but my bass playing and singing, I love that record, because when I hear George over there and Ray over there, I hear new things all the time. In fact, I put it on today. I was burning a copy for a friend of mine, and so I played a part of a song, and I heard more guitar stuff that I had never noticed George did. I'm going, oh my God, he's amazing. You know, so yeah, I love that record. I can't wait to tour it.
Sure. Now, you've obviously played around a lot of musicians. What is it about George's playing or his mind state that makes him so special?
Because he's not a schooled guitar player. Everything he plays is from his heart, but he plays like a schooled guitar player, which is really cool. Watching him do leads, it's like he's got a library of licks in his head, and he just calls them out at will. So he's playing this, and all of a sudden he's doing this, and next thing you know it's like he'll play for 4 beats or 8 beats, and all of a sudden, oh, I'm bored with this, let's try this. And it's not that it's not joined together, it's just very creative. It's not just, you know, some guitar players, they play, but when you listen, you don't hear what they're doing because they have a sound and a tone that masks what they're doing. You know, a lot of times your gimmick is more than what you do. And with George, it's like you really hear his notes and what he's doing, and the urgency is in it, the tones that he uses. He uses different tones. He's not afraid to experiment and try different voicings sonically to continue keeping you, what's the word for it, interested.
Well, it's certainly a treat to listen to him, you know.
Yeah.
I know there's a method to the madness, but yeah, he seems extremely prolific, and like you say, he's not going to sit around. He's always creating.
Always creating, coming up with something
Now you
more
too,
than
you got Grinder Blues.
Yeah.
What other projects do we need to know about?
With Third Air Experience, but I haven't done anything with Robbie in a while. Rob played in a band called Tribe After Tribe.
Yeah.
And another amazing band.
Yeah.
A band that flew under the radar. The first 2 Tribe After Tribe records, come on.
Yeah.
It was.
Who else was in that band?
I don't know the guys' names.
Okay.
They all came from South Africa. They were kicked out of South Africa.
Yeah.
Actually, during apartheid, because they stood up for the Zulu people and the black people.
Yeah.
They were going to be killed. But anyway, they brought the Zulu voodoo jungle,
the rhythms,
with a Led Zeppelin U2 vibe.
Yeah.
Which was like, that's, 3 of my favorite things.
Yeah.
That was like a Sunday, that was like a wonderful shake.
Sure.
But anyway, I won't go off into them, but I'm in a band with Robbie, and I play with him a lot. We do things together, and it's called Third Ear Experience.
Okay.
It's a very interchangeable band. A band. We jam for hours and hours and we record it. We're sort of a jam band.
Okay.
We've got a couple records out. Each song lasts 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
We get together and jam for an hour. Then we'll smoke some weed and get drunk and jam for another hour. Just a bunch of people show up. Kizzy lives in Joshua Tree, where a lot of musicians show up. So people just show up and jam. But Grinder Blues is the Billman brothers, 2 brothers who have their own band, and they backed up many blues players. Sun Seal is the guy that they've currently been backing up.
Okay.
I met them a while ago, and they suggested we get together and make some music, and so we were writing music because they've got a couple songs in movies, and we were trying to write some tunes to try to get them placed. And I said, well, since you guys are a blues band, let's just do some just low-down blues. Let's do it in drop C and go for like the Tres Hombres kind of vibe, just fucked up blues. And they were game. And so we did this Grinder Blues record. And I love that record too, because it's the same thing. It was just you know, just, okay, play shuffle. And in that tuning, and we just decided to kind of twist the progressions up like ZZ Top did. So we came up with No Holds Barred Blues, a couple rock tunes on it, but lyrically, nothing's deep. It's all about my baby left me, don't go home and stuff. Another muse kicking my stall, the whole thing. One song on there is called Hit by a Train. It's about my grandfather who was hit by a train and killed.
Wow.
And it's a choo-choo train song. It's one of those. And it's all about him getting hit by a train. He was alcoholic, and I guess he was coming home one night and didn't see the train coming. Or back in the 50s, white folks kill black people in certain instances, and they think he might have been killed. Somebody might have pushed him into it. We don't know, because it was back in it was a long time ago. But anyway, song about that. We've done some gigs and they've been fun, because with Grinder Blues I can just get up and go play it with them. Right. It's just that easy. KXM we're gonna have to rehearse. So anyway, yeah, those are the projects. Also. Well, we can take this out if I can't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. Maybe things will be happening by then, but I just did a Hendrix tribute record. Okay. Joe at Rat Pack said, hey, why don't you do a couple Hendrix songs and we'll put them out? And I'm going, that'll be fun, but I thought, well, I don't want to do just another Hendrix record of, you know, he said, we'll get a bunch of different guitar players on it and stuff, and I thought, well, I don't want to do a Hendrix record with a bunch of just famous guitar players. I want to get a bunch of guys who understand Hendrix and want to recreate sort of like the vibe, sonically and everything. So I chose Gypsies. Yeah, so I chose about, I think it was 10, 11 songs. We got Are You Experienced, Spanish Castle Magic, stuff like that. But we went in the studio and brought the records in and played the records and listened. And Michael Parnan, who engineered and produced the record, he's got an ear for sounds, and he did research, and he went in, found the pedals, found the amps, found everything, the mics. We did the do. I mean, we literally, he said, how are we going to get that sound, Doug? I go, well, back in the 50s, we used to literally get a comb and put cellophane, not cellophane, but wax paper on it. And so he went online, and that's what Jimmy did. So we did it that way. I mean, we did everything the best we could, and so when you put that record on, it's gonna freak some people out, because it's pretty, it's so close to Hendrix, and I sing. So same band did the whole album? Yeah, and I sing so much like Hendrix. I played guitar and bass on it. Tommy played guitar, and Tracy Singleton played guitar too. Tracy did a lot of the leads and the ambient stuff that Hendrix used to do, that used to just the thing that would go in and out, because Tracy really knew that stuff. Tommy has just a great feel for Jimi Hendrix, and he loves him, so I brought Tommy in to do the rhythms and some leads on it. And I played rhythm on a lot of it also, guitar and bass. So it was a lot of fun. So that'll be out, hopefully, if we can just get it past the Hendrix people. We got to get it past them for them to approve it before we can announce it. Okay. And that's why I was telling you about it anyway, just in case that something happens by then. And what else? And I'm working on an album with Tommy right now. Okay. It's going slow because we're only doing it in our spare time. We're both busy, but he comes back to L.A. and we lock ourselves up in my room and we write and work out tunes, and it's a lot of fun. No, we're talking about your young protege. Tell us about you meeting him at the NAMM show. What was it about his playing that spoke to you? Well, his name's Tommy Baldwin, and met him at NAMM. Eric Gales is his favorite guitar player, one of his favorite guitar players, and I was there to say hi to Eric at NAMM, and he walks up and he knew that I had played with Eric, and he knew my name. He says, "You're DugPinnick." I go, "Yeah," and I says, "How you doing?" I play guitar, and I go, "Cool." I says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I came here to see Eric," and I said, "Well, come on." And so I just grabbed him, and I busted through the crowd and said, "Eric, this kid's named Tommy, and he's a blues guitar player." And he says, "You're his favorite guitar player." I love to do that stuff. And so they hit it off and actually exchanged numbers and stuff. And we've jammed with Eric, too. Okay. He came out to play with us when we went on tour. I took Tommy on tour with me, also to sell merch and to play Voodoo Chow, just to introduce him to to the people that love what I do.
Yeah.
But we hit it off so well. He's become one of my best friends, and it's just when I saw him play and heard him sing, it reminded me of what Chaz Chandler must have thought when he had met Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy's just got this raw emotional talent that transcends the notes. He's not a kid that, he's not a Steve Vai and he's not a Yngwie. He's just blues, and it just, he feels it. And every time, so I invited him to come out to LA and hang out with me. I said, just come out and hang out, and we'll just go out and do stuff, and I'll introduce
And he's from Indiana.
Yeah, he's from Indiana, and I says, I'll just...
Now, how did he grow up with the blues? All of his parents' music, or?
Well, his dad died when he was 10.
Okay.
And his dad bought him a guitar about 6 or 7 months before he died.
Mm.
And it was really hard on him, and so his outlet was he grabbed that guitar and put his whole heart into it. And blues was the emotion that he chose.
Yeah.
And he's got it. He's a great singer, too. So yeah, so whenever I take him out and whenever I jam with him, or whenever he gets an opportunity to get up and play, literally everybody freaks out. It's crazy just to see. And I mean, really, really great peer guitar players come, dude, who's this kid? How old is he? And he's 18 now, he's just turned 19. And I'm going, dude, where'd you find this kid? I says, dude, we've been trying to figure out how to play like that all our lives, you know, and things like that. Just such great compliments to him. And he's such a humble kid. And people have just poured their love out to him. He's overwhelmed. It's so much fun. It's such a joy to watch his eyes bug out, because it's a dream come true for him. You know, I mean, it's up to him. It's up, you know, he will put his record out, and it's up to the people. You know, I tell him, you know, it's like, here it is.
Yeah.
It's an adventure. It's a journey. Here we go. You know, let's hope for the best, but don't get bummed out if the adventure goes this way or that way. It's all about the adventure, you know, and because nowadays it's just so hard to do anything, you know. Nowadays.
So he's basically been solo. He hasn't been played in a bunch of bands.
Well, he has a band called the Tommy Baldwin Band.
Okay.
He has a drummer, Elijah. This kid is badass. He's the same age, and he left him there. Eventually, Elijah will probably move out here too.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just trying to get Tommy established and get something that people can put on. He could hand and say, "This is my record," you know. And so that's the only thing I can do for him. All I can do is prep him and say, "There you go," you know.
Now, do you start off playing a lot of covers, or was it original pretty early on?
What now?
Did he start by playing covers?
Him?
Yeah.
I guess so, because his videos, he's got YouTube videos all over YouTube. Tommy Baldwin Band. And he's been doing this for a good while. So he's got a lot of original stuff and things on YouTube that you can check out.
Okay.
But what I love is he's growing, he's progressing. You know, it's you know, he's a sponge, and it's just so fun to watch him blossom.
Now, how did you spell his last name?
Baldwin, Tommy Baldwin.
Okay.
Check him out on Facebook and YouTube, Tommy Baldwin Band.
Amazing stuff.
And oh yeah, and cause like I always take him to the All-Star Jam on Wednesday.
Okay.
And
Lucky
usually
strike.
when I play, he plays with me, and
Okay.
we'll do Voodoo Child, or we did Superstition one night. We
Okay.
did Ain't No Sunshine. But I love it because when he plays a lead, people just go, "Oh my God," you know. Or when we do Voodoo Child, this is what I love about Voodoo Child. Whenever we do Voodoo Child, I always have him sing the second verse. And when he comes up to the mic and goes, "I didn't mean to take up all your sweet time," some girl screams. It doesn't, I took him across the country,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, with my my solo band, and got him up to play Voodoo Child, and every time he did it, somebody in the audience would scream. To the point where by the time we got to the end of the tour, I would say, "I got this kid who's selling merch," and people go, "Tommy, Tommy!" People were yelling for him before I'd even announce it. I'm going, "Dude, this is so cool."
Wow. Well, with so many projects under your belt and you're involved in, is there anything on a bucket list that you've still yet to do? Is there a type of band or a project that you still is in your head?
Yeah. Well, I'm working on my solo record, so I might try to dabble into something outside the box. I'm not sure, but what I want to do is get a band together with brass and the whole deal, like Sly and Family Stone.
Wow.
You know, for the fun of it.
Get the funky horns.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
And the other thing too is I want to have a funk band that sounds like Metallica. Now I'm sorry, let me backtrack. I want a funk band that is a cross between Meshuggah and Sly and Family Stone.
Yeah.
I don't know how that can happen, but yeah, I mean like
industrial grooves,
9 strings with I kind of dabbled in it. There's a song on my solo record called "Ain't That the Truth." It's a song about Jerry after he had his heart attack. I wrote it when we were waiting for him to recover. We in fact we didn't even know if he was going to live or not. If he was going to live, and I'm in New Jersey, or he's in New Jersey, and I'm in L.A., and there was nothing I could do but either walk around and worry about him, or write a song. Which is I write a lot of music to stop myself from losing my mind, and so it's called "We're So Glad You Made It," and it's in drop. I'd use my 7-string guitar. And so it's kind of like Sly and Family Stone with a kind of a real low riff in it. So I'm just trying to come up with some new kind of stuff.
Of course, you got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the business has just radically changed. We're talking about Tower Records and all the things that we miss, but I know you can't give them so much the business advice besides really knowing, what copyrights and publishing and all that are. But what advice creatively do you give to the young guys, the garage bands, the people coming up today, after you've seen, what do you instill in them to try and have the best shot possible to
I think
stand out?
one thing is to know that it's an adventure. It's not the end or the beginning. I mean, people would come up to me and go, how did you feel when you made it? And I go, well, I made it when I opened my mouth up. I made it when I played that first note on my bass, even though I barely knew what I was doing. There's no making it, and even when the people that are super famous and super rich that I know still don't feel like they made it, because that goal is unattainable. So it's the adventure, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I would say whatever you do, find out what your heart is. I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's 2 different types of musicians, I think, and one is they're analytical. They know their notes. They know they can read. They can write. They can teach. They're virtuoso, incredible at what they do, and it's a great service to the music community. Then there are those who are 100% emotional and pick an instrument up and play one note and make you cry. You gotta find out your niche and do what you do. Learn what you're best at and go for it. If you want to be successful, I believe that you have to find your brand. Not a gimmick. We're all gimmicks. Whatever you do is a gimmick. Whatever the best part of that gimmick that you do, hone in on it. AC/DC, they have a groove. They have a guy that plays 4 on the floor and doesn't move. Yeah. They have songs that are about basically just high school screwing songs.
Yeah.
They're genius. They stuck with it, and because of it, they're amazing what they do now. When a band's together for 20, 30 years, no matter what they do, it's going to be amazing, whether you like them or not. I have a hypothesis. If you take a child and give them a pencil, say draw a line on the wall, tell him to do it every day. By the time he's 50 years old, that line will be so straight that it will give you goosebumps. Mm-hmm. Or it will be so interesting that it will change your life. Okay? This is what artists do. We're not great when we're 20. We're not great when we're 30. We're not great when we're 40. We're not great when we're 50. By the time you get about 70 or 80 years old, that's when you know your shit. And when you go see people that old play, you go, I saw Little Richard sit down and go, dun, 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 dun. The typical old blues thing, hair stood up.
Yeah.
It was the way he touched it, the way he played it. Music is more than just, did I make it? It's more than playing today and getting somebody to like you.
There's no finish line.
Thank you. There's no finish line. Number two, the whole story. You know, we're just people. We are the guys back 100 years ago. We were the blacksmiths. We worked on the horses. We plowed the fields. We had the livery stable. And on Sunday afternoons, we all got together at the town square and played our fiddles and had a ball. And we went home, went back to our lives. That's who we are. Now, you can give your life to it and play it all your life, which is what I did and which is what most musicians should do. But always remember, you are not entitled. Okay, that's the thing. We think when we pick up a guitar or we sing that we're going to be famous and rich. We feel entitled. And then we're disappointed because not everybody's coming to see us or people aren't listening to our music. Oh, I suck. What's wrong with me? That's not why you make music. It's not for someone's approval or monetary gain. That was something that happened in the 70s pretty much when Fleetwood Mac and Peter Frampton came along and sold millions of records. The first two rock bands that sold over a couple million records. Record companies go, oh, we can make money on this. Next thing you know, we have a commodity, rock and roll. And from the 70s to the 90s, it was the gold rush. The gold rush is over. We're saturated with too many bands. We're saturated with too much radio. We're saturated with too much music, with YouTube. It's all done. There's no gold. Gold doesn't have its value anymore. Value. It's given away now. People are giving it away for free. That's what music is now. So I say to young people, it's your time. You guys got to figure it out. Us people my age, we had our niche. We knew how to do it. Nowadays, we don't know how to do it. You have the internet. You were born on the internet. You have the social media. You understand that stuff. It's up to you to figure out a way to be a commercial to get people to listen to your music the same way we did. We had to go out and play for people. And we had a couple radio stations or whatever. We did what we did to get noticed. You've got to do what you do to get noticed, and hopefully you'll be successful. But if you're not, remember, it's the adventure. And another thing I have to say, and this is a motto that I live by. My cousin told me when I was 16 years old, she said, Dougie, it's a terrible thing for a man to do the thing that he don't want to do for the rest of his life. And from that day on, I realized I will not do anything other than what I want to do for the rest of my life, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky. I've got to do it. I've got to make a living at it, and it's worked out. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people that have families, kids, wives, commitments. I understand. You know, there are some places where you have to be that you can't pursue, you know, the gift that you have or your desire. But you young people, think about that before you get somebody pregnant, before you find that girlfriend or boyfriend that really doesn't want you doing what you're doing, but they say they're okay with it. Because as soon as they lock you down, then they're going to try to stop you from it. And I have a belief in, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe that a lot of times the reason why a lot of couples who are musicians, they break up is because the spouse doesn't realize that we love music just as much as we love them.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing degrading or wrong about it. It's just we love you both the same. Don't take our love away from us.
Yeah.
You know, don't force us to do what we don't want to do, because you will resent us and I will resent you. You know, when you find that person, make sure that they're your helpmate, not your hindrance.
Yeah.
Don't play the game. I've met so many people go, well, she, this, he, this, blah, blah, blah. Don't play the bullshit. You know, either they're in or they're not.
Yeah, don't dilute your dream.
Because, you know, nothing like having drama, having kids, having a band, trying to go out on tour, having kids having to come home to take care of the kids, or the kids coming for the weekend and you can't play. And I mean, plan your life out. There's a lot of things that you do.
It's a lot of sacrifice involved.
A lot of sacrifice involved. And the last but not least thing was Ty Tabor said to us one day, me and Ty and Jerry were sitting in the back of the bus, tour bus, and Ty looked up and said, you know, we've lost everything that we've held close and dear to our hearts to do this. And I went, and me and Jerry both looked at each other and went, we sure have. You know, everybody that we've loved, everything in our lives, we've always put here because we went and done this. We've lost a lot too. Lost a lot of love, lost hurt people. You know, I guess it's just be careful. You have a gift. Be careful what you do with it. Always know that whatever you do, people are listening. Whatever you say, somebody's going to do it or agree with you or not agree with you. And always know that there's always going to hate what you do. Always know that. Always know that. Prepare yourself for it. I got online one time and went to all the Justin Bieber hate you sites. I couldn't believe how many people hate him. But then, that's only a tenth of how many people love him.
Right.
So
they spend that much time trying to hate on somebody.
Right. So you must be doing something.
Yeah, I mean, to cause that kind of reaction.
Somebody said to me at a record company, Atlantic actually, he said, it's better to have people hate you, love you and hate you, but if they are indifferent, it's a kiss of death.
Oh, absolutely.
If they're just kind of you know.
Like I say, a Little Richard, Ted Nugent, any of these guys, it was you either loved them or you hated them. AC/DC, you loved or hated them.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground.
No. None. With King's X, it's either they love us or nobody cares, which is almost a kiss of death. If we didn't have musicians, I mean, King's X is a musician band. If we didn't have the music community that loved what we did, we would not survive. Our shows are nothing but musicians.
Right.
That's it. They play something. All of them.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, Doug, it's been a supreme pleasure. These are great words of advice.
Hello? Hello?
On that note,
one more time. No, it's done.
You have given us a lifetime of music to enjoy.
Oh, thanks, man.
I can't wait for the next projects, and we can't
my
wait
solo
to.
record too. I'm working on it. I say
Can't wait for the solo album. I want to talk back about that when you've got it, and when Tommy comes back to town. We look forward to talking to him.
Cool.
Thank you so much.